however, becomes very important in looking at whether people will heed the measures that the governments are putting in place. Right? So across the region, you've had things like partial curfews in Egypt, you've had lockdowns in Tunisia. Morocco also has very severe restrictions on movements, and you can only go out to get groceries for your family if you have a special permit that you will be asked to show several times on the trip between your house and the grocery store. Now, do people trust the governments to sufficiently to implement those measures? And there you have quite a discrepancy across the region. On one hand, you have in Egypt where people are not very trustful of the government's ability to deal with the crisis. It started off with, shall we say, a positive response to how the government was communicating. So you had the prime minister was consistently on television, was consistently sharing information, was trying to sort of speak directly to people, and people appreciated that, and they felt that they were dealing with a leadership that they could trust. But it feels that the government has wasted a little bit that trust capital, and now people are going back to, by and large, ignoring government guidelines whenever possible, really, especially outside of the big urban agglomerations like Cairo and Alexandria, where the government is able to enforce curfews and so on by police by force. But outside of that, people are joyfully ignoring those guidelines. A country like Algeria is also very interesting because Algeria has, over the past year, has had a sustained movement of protests that was ongoing and that has only been suspended because sort of the protesters were like, okay, well, right now this is a crisis time. Our grievances with the governments are still there, but we're going to suspend the protests because now is not the right time for it. So there, too, you also have quite a high level of mistrust between the people and the states. On the more positive note is a country like Tunisia, where people are, by and large, I want to say, abiding by government guidelines and sort of, following directions about when to leave and when not to go and how to deal with cases that they suspect are unwell and so on and so forth. So you have a really, really interesting differential of trust between people and governments in the region, and we'll see how that translates into the crisis management part.
That's all for this week, and thanks again to Mohamed for taking the time to talk to us here at the Africa Report. For more on the impact of COVID across the continent, do be sure to visit our website at theafricareport.com and sign up there for our daily briefings. If you enjoy this podcast, do rate and review us on your favorite platform, and come say hi to us on our social media channels. For the Africa Report, this is Anne-Marie Basada, and thank you for listening.